first thing we're going to talk about today is slope intercept form. Okay. And our learning target for today, I can understand how to graph lines in slope intercept. So this is a review, but it's an important review. Slope intercept form looks like this. We're going to have y equals. That's sort of the key to slope intercept form. If you see y equals, the equation is in slope intercept form. Okay? On the other side, you're usually going to have an x. And the number before the x we call m. That's your slope. And then you're often going to have another number over here. We call that b. That is our y-intercept. And this is why we call it slope-intercept form, because slope-intercept form tells us the slope and the y-intercept. Let's do a couple review problems of slope-intercept form. Here's our coordinate plane. Say I gave you the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 2.
You go.
So we talked about starting with the intercept. We go up 2, because the intercept is plus 2. Then moving to the slope. The slope is up 1 over 2. So we go up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. And we would have sort of a gradually sloping line for this graph. I'm going to do one that's on the same coordinate plane. If I had y equals 2x plus 2. This one I'll graph in blue. So let's make the y blue. Start with my plus 2. And I put my y-intercept there. Now 2 doesn't look like a fraction, but we can turn it into a fraction.
2 over 1.
2 over 1, right? That helps me remember how to do my slope by going up 2 and over 1. Right? So even though the 1 is sort of hidden at first, when you see a slope of 2, you still go over 1. Up 2 over 1. And then we'll do it again, up 2 over 1. Okay, put that on. And now we see that the slope of 2 gave us a much steeper line. You guys see that pattern? So when I had a slope of 1/2, the line was shallower. Now with a slope of 2, I have a really steep line. What if I had a negative slope? Let's do this one in another color. Y equals, let's say we had negative 2/3 x plus 1. Where am I going to start on this one?
You're going to go up 1.
Good. I'm going to use this plus 1. That tells me that when x is 0, right, if x were 0, y would be 1. So when x is 0, y is 1. That's my intercept, plus 1.
And then you're going to go down 2.
Good. Now I look at my slope. it says to go down 2 over
3.
1, 2, 3. And then I can go down 2 more over 1, 2, 3 more.
And then it makes a line.
And it makes the line. What do you notice about the negative slope?
It goes.
If we were to stand on this graph and walk up this line, we would be going uphill, right?
We're going downhill fast.
On this black line.
Up and
That was this first one, right? If we were to stand here on this blue line and walk from left to right,
That'd be hard.
we'd be like practically climbing a cliff. If we were to stand on this one,
It'd be like a slide.
it's like a slide. So a negative slope goes down from left to right. Okay? Something to notice about slopes. And this will help you as you graph these, it will help you check your work. Okay? You'll say, okay, negative slope, that should be going down. And if it's not, then when you graphed it, you did something wrong. All right, let's do one more example before we get into the slightly more complicated.
No.
Slightly, a little bit, not too much. How about if I had y equals 1/4 x minus 3. Where do I start?
You go down negative.
Go down to -3. That's my y-intercept, so I put a point.
Then you go up 1 and 4.
1 over 4. And then let's do it again. Up 1 over 4.
Up 1 over.
And I could do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Makes like a.
I have a very gradual,
That's a weird line.
positively sloped line.
I'm positive. It's
So I
positive.
start with a -3. That tells me the intercept. Then I look at the slope. This tells me
And you repeat
up
that.
1 over 4. And I just repeat that. So up 1 over 4. Up 1 over 1,
And then you
2,
put your
3,
arrow.
4. Up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Sometimes you'll see slope done as sort of a triangle. Like here's my side of my triangle and then here's the other edge. And the line is the hypotenuse of that triangle. So we go up 1 over 4.
So it's like a step.
It's like a diamond.
It's kind of like steps, exactly. Slope is just like steps.
How is it like a dinosaur?
Because it's fabulous.
We end up with a solid line. Alright, now what if we start to change things slightly? So I'm not going to change a lot. What if I have something like this? Y equals 2x. What is my b here? What is my y-intercept in this? 2x plus, it doesn't say
Nothing.
plus.
1.
Nothing.
Does it say 2x plus 1?
No.
Like 0.
No. 0, right? Does it say 2x plus 0?
No, but it's
No,
0.
but would it be any different if I said 2x plus 0?
No.
Right. So 2x is 2x plus 0.
So you go up 0.
So I start at 0, the origin, the center. Right?
And then you go up 2.
We have an imaginary plus 0 there. Now I go up 2 and then what?
Across 2. No, across 1 because
Over 1. Because
because
remember,
you-
2 is the same thing as 2 over 1.
1.
Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1.
Up
And I
2.
could keep doing that.
It's like climbing another cliff.
And again, positive slope, it's a pretty big number, 2, compared to like 1/2 or 1/4. So it's fairly steep.
That was magical.
Alright, what if I had some of those negative 1/5 x? Where am I going to start?
0.
0.
Start at 0 because there's no b, so b is 0. Then I go up 1. No, I don't go up.
You
I'm
go
sorry.
down 1 because
It's negative, so I go down 1
Over
over 5.
Down
Remember, we're
one,
always
over
going to go
5.
over to the right.
It
We
makes
never move our slope to the left.
It's a weird
And we go down 1 over 1, 2, 3,
See,
4,
that's a
5.
weird line.
Yeah, that's a weird line, definitely.
That one is very, 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 very gradual, right? Kind of, that point should probably be 1, 2, 3. Something like that. So this is a very gradual slope because it's a pretty small number. 1/5 is pretty small.
I have a question. Can you do?
Gradual.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you do that with like circles?
So circles are going to be a totally different form. You can't graph a circle in slope-intercept form. They have their own form,
Oh.
which is a little more complicated. You probably learn about circles in like algebra 2, maybe in geometry. There's a chance.
Have we even taken geometry?
No.
Not yet.
Okay, what if I had this? Y equals x plus 1. What is my y-intercept
You
here?
go up 1.
Yeah, 1, because it says plus 1. But then what's my slope? There's nothing in front of x. So is that 0?
Yeah. No.
Is 0x the same as x?
Yeah. No, it's 1.
No, it's 1. That's right.
Yeah.
X is the same thing as 1x. So my slope here is 1,
1 over 1.
even though it doesn't actually say it.
So it's 1 over 1, so you go
Right, and
up
1 is, as a fraction, is 1 over 1. So I go up 1
and over 1.
over 1.
Up 1
Up
over
1
It'll make
over 1.
something is there, but still.
And this should make a pretty gradual 45-degree angle.
I like that one.
Climbing up a hill.
We're going up because our slope is positive. What if it was y equals negative x? Y equals negative x. Where's our intercept?
It'd be negative 1 plus 0.
Yeah,
So you
plus
go-
0. So our intercept is at 0, 0.
And then you go down
And our slope
negative
is
1.
negative 1
over 1.
over 1. So I go down 1 over 1.
Over 1.
Down 1
over 1.
And I end up with this line going down. Okay, so if we have no b, b is 0. Right? You may want to write that into your notes. If we have no b, b is 0. If there's no number in front of x, the slope is 1. Right? And if there's just a negative x, the slope is negative 1. And then the other thing we talked about is any number, so if like when I had y equals 2x, right? 2 as a fraction is just 2 over 1. So sometimes these aren't going to look obvious at first, and you just have to try to think about, like, well, what is 2 if we were to write it as a fraction? Is it 2 over 3? No, that's something totally different. Is it 2 over 0? No, because we can't divide by 0.
2 over
2
1.
is 2 over 1. That's the same thing. Alright. Now, one more level of complexity. So actually, all of this has been reviewed, but this is now new stuff, okay? This is something that we have not yet learned. Technically, the first one is still slope-intercept form. And then I'm going to show you something that's not slope-intercept form. If I just had this, y equals 3. Yes?
It would be y equals 3 over 1 plus 0.
Well, where's
Okay.
the x?
So where's the x?
Because there's nothing to solve for, so you just go up 3.
So let's try to think about it the way that Maddie said. Because Sarita's right. We are going to go up 3 and put a dot there. But I want to think about this as y equals something x plus something. So if there's no x, there's not an x here, what could we say is our coefficient in front of x? What number
1.
times x equals nothing?
0.
slope-intercept here?
3.
Yeah, 3. Y equals
and
3
then-
is the same thing as y equals 0x plus 3. Now we have to think about 0. 0
over 1.
as a fraction could be written as 0 over 1. Right? Actually, if you think about it, you could write it as 0 over any number.
So you go 3 up.
You
and
could
then
write
1
it
over.
0 over 17 if you wanted to. That's still 0. So the key here is that when you have y equals, you're never going to go up or down. You just go y equals 3, so you go up 3, and then your slope is just straight over. Up 0 over 1. Up 0 over 1, etc. Right? This is called a horizontal line because it looks like the horizon. Okay? And if I had drawn it perfectly straight, we would see it never wavers up or down. It just goes horizontally forever. This line is y equals 3. Okay? So what do you think this line would look like? Y equals negative 2. What would that look like? Yeah.
You go down 2,
Uh-huh.
and then you go over 1.
Yeah, and then I just keep going over 1.
So pretty.
So when I see y equals, I think horizontal line. Okay, y equals negative 2 is a line that goes through y equals negative 2. Okay? All right. Now here's one. Remember what I said about slope-intercept form? What did I say at the very beginning? The key to slope-intercept form is the y equals, right? I'm going to show you something that doesn't even have a y now. What if I had an equation that said x equals 5? So this is no longer slope-intercept form because it doesn't say y equals. We can't think about it like we were thinking about slope-intercept form. That's not going to work in this case. But think about what y equals negative 2 or what y equals 5 look like. And give me a guess about what x equals 5 might look like.
1.
Where would I start with x equals 5, do you think?
Go up 5.
So if I went up 5, that would be like y equals 5, right? Yeah, what if I went, this is called the x-axis, right? Yeah. And what's this axis called?
Y.
The y-axis. So if I want x to equal 5, on this axis I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This literally means x is 1, x is 2, x is 3, x is 4, x is 5. So if x equals 5, I'm going to start right on the axis where x equals 5. Then what do you think I should do from there? Use what we just did to graph this. Think about y is always negative 2 here, right? It never goes up or down. It always stays negative 2 on this graph.
And we go 5 more.
So in this one, what could I do? Which direction do you think this line is going to go? Do you think it's going to go like straight to the side? Do you think it's going to be at an angle? Straight up and down?
Up and
Would it go down?
Angle. Angle
An
downward.
Angle or down. Okay.
Angle downward.
Good guesses. Let's think about this. If y is 1 in this equation, what is x?
5.
5. Right? X is 5. So if y is 1, then x is still 5. So I could make a point right there.
It goes straight
What
up.
if y is 2? What is
X
x?
is still 5.
X is still 5. What if y is 9,079? What's
X
x?
is still 5.
X is still 5.
It's going
I
to go
don't
up
even
and
think
down.
that was a number that I just said.
No, you said 9,965.
Did I?
Yeah.
We can always remind the video.
So this line, just like you guys are saying, it goes straight up and down. So x equals is going to be a vertical line that goes through this place where x equals 5. All right, let's do one more example of that. What if x is -1? X equals -1.
Up and down.
No, you'd go the other way one.
Which way is the other way?
Left.
Left. Okay. This is where x is -1, and I put a dot. And then what?
Then here.
Yeah, then I just go up and down. X is always -1. So even here, x is still -1.
So if we have a problem like that on our homework, should we just draw a straight line up and down? Because it seems
Well,
like that's how it works out.
Right. So if you had x equals -1 on your homework, you would draw this. X equals
You
-1.
would get the numbers and go.
And then go straight up and down.
Okay.
So let's write in your notes. You should have these examples, but I also want you to write out the following thing. It's just going to be 2 sentences. Not even really, but.
A sentence and a half.
Y equals is a vertical, sorry, it's not a vertical line, is a horizontal line. Right? X equals is a vertical line. And when I say y equals, I mean y equals a number, right? And when I say x equals, I mean x equals a number. Because this would be different if it said like y equals x. So when this is a number.
Y equals half.
Wait.
Y equals a number. If you want in your notes to actually write a number, that's fine. You guys know that more as hashtag. It's not going to be helpful. So if y equals a number, you have a horizontal line. If x equals a number, you have a vertical line. Okay. If you have both y and x, then you have a line that has slope to it. Okay. Anytime you have both y and x, so like y equals 3x plus 1, this is a line that has slope to it because it has both y and x. Okay? Even if I just have y equals x. Y equals x is going to be a line with some slope to it, right? A tilt. Because it has both y and x. So whenever we have both y and x, the line will be tilted. A line that has both y and x, an equation that has both y and x, makes a line that is tilted. Could be tilted a lot, like really steep, or it could just be very gradual tilt like that. Questions about these?
No, before we go, we have to do like camera. No more
Oh,
fractions.
we forgot lights. Come on.
Yeah, but there's no more
Okay,
fractions.
before
so
I
it
turn
has to be no
before
more
I turn this off, hold on. Let's graph one more. Y equals 2/3 x minus 5. Where do I start?
-5.
Start at -5 on which axis? Going down or going left?
Going down.
Going down. Then what? From -5, where do I go?
You go up 2
Up 2
and across 3.
over 3. Good. And then I go up 2 over 3. Up 2, right? Over 3. And then I make my line perfectly straight.
Yay!
Oh, why did they even invent rulers? If you could draw straight lines like that, freedom.
So pretty.
We're like a 7 country.
Hashtag.